I married a human, but now my alien sister wants him too. Marcus stretched his arms above his head as the artificial morning light of New Haven colony filtered through the bedroom window. Beside him, Zara stirred, her purple skin seeming to shimmer in the gentle glow. Even after 2 years of marriage, he still found himself mesmerized by her beauty. The way her dark hair cascaded across the pillow, the subtle lavender hue of her lips, the graceful way she moved as she woke. "Good morning, my love," she murmured, her voice carrying that melodic quality that all her species possessed. Her fingers traced lazy patterns across his chest. "Morning, beautiful." Marcus pulled her closer, breathing in her unique scent, something like vanilla mixed with starflowers. "What's on the agenda today?" "The usual. I have that conference call with the terraforming team, and you have your engineering review." She pressed a kiss to his shoulder. "Then maybe we can have that quiet dinner we've been planning? Just the two of us?" Marcus smiled, already imagining the evening ahead. Life on the colony could be hectic, but moments like these made everything worthwhile. He'd left Earth 5 years ago for a fresh start, never imagining he'd fall in love with someone from another world entirely. The morning proceeded peacefully, until Marcus returned home that evening. He'd picked up Zara's favorite crystallized fruit from the market, planning to surprise her. But as he approached their quarters, he heard voices. 2 voices. Both female, both speaking the flowing language of Zara's home planet. He pressed his palm to the entry pad, and the door slid open. Zara stood in the living area, but she wasn't alone. Another woman stood beside her, younger, her skin the same distinctive purple shade, but somehow brighter, more vibrant. She wore traveling clothes and carried a large bag. "Marcus." Zara's expression was tight, strained. This is my sister, Kira." Kira turned, and Marcus felt the weight of her gaze immediately. Her eyes, a deeper violet than Zara's, swept over him with unconcealed interest. A slow smile spread across her face. "So you're the famous human husband," Kira said, her accent thicker than Zara's, more exotic. She stepped forward, extending her hand in the human custom. "Zara has told me so much about you, though her descriptions didn't quite do you justice." Marcus shook her hand, noting how her grip lingered just a moment too long. "It's nice to meet you, Kira. Zara didn't mention you were visiting." "That's because I didn't know," Zara interjected, an edge to her voice. "Kira, why don't you tell Marcus why you're here?" Kira released Marcus's hand and turned to her sister with an innocent expression. "I wanted to see you, dear sister." "Is that so wrong?" "And I was curious." Her gaze slid back to Marcus. "About human-alien marriages. About what makes them work. About humans themselves." The way she said humans made something prickle at the back of Marcus's neck, though he couldn't quite say why. "How long are you staying?" he asked, trying to keep his tone friendly. Kira's smile widened. "Oh, I'm in no hurry. I thought I'd stay for a while. Get to know you both better. Learn about your life here. Is that okay, Marcus? I promise I won't be too much trouble." She moved closer to him, and he caught that same starflower scent that Zara carried, but stronger, almost intoxicating. "Of course," Marcus said, glancing at Zara. His wife's jaw was tight, her normally warm expression closed off. "Family is always welcome." "Wonderful." Kira clapped her hands together. "I just know we're going to be such good friends, Marcus. I have so many questions about humans, about Earth, about everything." That night, after they'd settled Kira in the guest room, Marcus found Zara standing by their bedroom window, staring out at the colony's glittering lights. "Hey," he said softly, wrapping his arms around her waist from behind. "You okay?" Zara leaned back against him, but remained tense. Kira can be ... intense. She's always been the impulsive one in the family. She seems nice enough. Does she? Zara turned in his arms, her eyes searching his face. Marcus, I need you to be careful around her. Careful? What do you mean? But before Zara could answer, a knock sounded at their door. Kira's voice called through, bright and cheerful. Sorry to interrupt, but I can't figure out the shower controls. Marcus, could you help me? Zara's expression darkened, and Marcus suddenly understood her concern. This visit was going to be more complicated than he'd thought. The following week became a delicate dance of avoiding and accommodating. Kira had a talent for appearing wherever Marcus happened to be. When he worked in his home office, she'd knock softly and ask questions about human technology. When he exercised in the colony gym, she'd be there, asking him to explain human fitness routines. When he cooked dinner, she'd lean against the counter, watching his every move with those intense violet eyes. On our planet, we don't prepare food this way, Kira said one evening, standing closer than necessary as Marcus chopped vegetables. It's fascinating how humans add so many different elements together. Could you teach me? Kira, I'm sure Marcus is busy, Zara said from the doorway, her voice carefully controlled. But I want to learn Earth customs, Kira protested, her hand brushing Marcus's arm. How else will I understand what makes your marriage so special? What draws you to each other? Marcus stepped sideways, putting distance between himself and Kira. It's not really about customs. It's about love. Love, Kira repeated as if testing the word. Yes, but surely there's more to it. The physical aspect, for instance. Are humans very different from us in that way? Kira, Zara's composure cracked. That's inappropriate, is it? I'm just curious. Kira's innocent expression didn't match the knowing glint in her eyes. You always said humans were wonderful, Zara. I'm trying to understand why. The tension in the apartment grew thicker each day. Marcus tried to maintain normalcy, but Kira's constant presence made it impossible. She had a way of interrupting intimate moments, of inserting herself into private conversations, of making everything about her fascination with Marcus. One evening, Marcus had planned something special. He'd reserved a table at Zara's favorite restaurant, one with private booths overlooking the colony's biodome gardens. He'd arranged for soft music, her preferred wine, the whole romantic setup. Zara wore a stunning deep blue dress that complemented her purple skin beautifully. As they sat down, Marcus reached across the table, taking her hand. I've missed this, he said softly. Just us, me too. Zara's smile was genuine for the first time in days. I'm sorry about Kira. I've tried talking to her, but she... Let's not talk about her tonight, Marcus interrupted gently. Tonight is about us, about remembering why we chose each other. He lifted her hand to his lips, kissing her knuckles. Zara's eyes softened, and she leaned forward. The ambient lighting cast a soft glow on her features, and Marcus felt that familiar surge of love and desire. Do you remember our first date? Zara asked. You were so nervous, you spilled your drink twice. I'd never dated an alien before. I was terrified I'd offend you somehow. You were perfect. Zara's thumb traced circles on his palm. You still are. Marcus was about to respond when a familiar voice cut through their moment. There you are. I've been looking everywhere for you two. Kira appeared beside their table, wearing a dress that was nearly identical to Zara's, but in a lighter shade. She slid into the booth before either of them could protest. What a coincidence, finding you here, Kira said brightly. I was just exploring the colony and got hungry. Mind if I join you? Zara's expression hardened. Actually, Kira, this is a private dinner. Oh, but we're family. Besides, I wanted to ask Marcus more about human courtship rituals. How did you win my sister's heart? What did you do to make her fall for you? Kira rested her chin on her hand, gazing at Marcus with rapt attention. The dinner was ruined. Marcus tried to salvage it, but Kira dominated the conversation, asking increasingly personal questions. How often did they go on dates? What did Marcus find attractive about Zara specifically? Had the cultural differences ever caused problems in their relationship? By the time they returned home, Zara was silent, her earlier warmth replaced by a cold fury. "I can't do this anymore," she said as soon as their bedroom door closed. "Do what?" "Pretend everything is fine. Pretend I don't see what's happening." Zara paced the room. "Marcus, my sister is attracted to you." "What?" "No, she's just curious about humans." "She's not curious about humans. She's curious about you. Specifically you. My husband." Zara stopped pacing, facing him. "And tomorrow, I'm going to talk to her about it." Marcus wanted to protest, to say Zara was overreacting, but he thought about all the small moments. The lingering touches, the intense stares, the constant questions, the interruptions. Maybe Zara was right. The next morning, Marcus woke to raised voices in the living area. He emerged from the bedroom to find the sisters facing each other, their body language tense. "You need to admit it," Zara was saying. "Stop pretending this is just innocent curiosity." Kira's expression shifted, the innocent facade cracking. "Fine. You want the truth?" "Yes, I'm attracted to him." "Yes, I think about him." "Is that so terrible?" "He's my husband." "And he's wonderful. Can you blame me?" Kira's voice rose passionately. "You found someone who loves you completely, who crossed the stars for you, who looks at you like you're his entire universe. Do you know how rare that is? Do you know how much I want that? So you thought you'd just take mine?" Kira fell silent, and in that silence, Marcus saw something he hadn't noticed before. Not just attraction, but loneliness. Deep, aching loneliness. "I wasn't trying to take him," Kira said quietly. I wanted to understand what you have, what makes it work." And maybe ... double quotes. She trailed off, looking away. "Maybe what?" Zara demanded. Kira's voice was barely a whisper. "Maybe I hoped there was enough of what you have to share." The admission hung in the air, shocking in its honesty. The silence that followed Kira's confession was deafening. Marcus stood frozen in the doorway, uncertain whether to intervene or retreat. Zara's face cycled through emotions: shock, anger, disbelief, and finally, a cold fury he'd rarely seen. "Share?" Zara's voice was dangerously quiet. "You want me to share my husband?" Kira lifted her chin defiantly. "On our home planet, it's not uncommon. Strong bonds are valued, and when someone finds a worthy partner, we're not on our home planet." Zara shouted. "And even if we were, Marcus is human. He's my husband, mine. We made vows to each other." "I know that," Kira said, her voice breaking slightly. "But seeing you together, seeing how happy you are, don't you understand? I'm 28 years old, Zara. Everyone back home is bonded. Everyone has someone. And I'm alone. Always alone. So your solution is to try to seduce my husband?" "I wasn't trying to seduce him." Kira's composure crumbled. "I just wanted to be near him. To understand what makes him special. To feel what you feel, even for a moment." Marcus finally stepped forward. "Kira, I think I need to be clear about something." Both sisters turned to him. Kira's eyes were bright with unshed tears, while Zara's blazed with protective anger. "I'm flattered, I suppose. But I'm committed to Zara. Completely. There's no sharing. No dividing my attention or affection. When I married her, I chose her. Only her. That doesn't change because you're interested." Kira flinched as if struck. "I know that. Logically, I know that. But logic and feelings don't always align. Then you need to make them align, Marcus said firmly, but not unkindly. Because this situation can't continue. You're hurting Zara, and you're making everyone uncomfortable. I'll leave, Kira whispered. I'll go back home. Running away won't solve anything, Zara said, though her voice had lost some of its sharp edge. You'll just carry these feelings with you. What else can I do? Kira looked between them helplessly. Stay here and torture myself watching you together? Keep pretending I don't feel what I feel? Marcus exchanged a glance with Zara. Despite everything, he felt a pang of sympathy for Kira. He remembered loneliness, remembered the years before he'd met Zara, when he'd wondered if he'd ever find someone who understood him. Maybe, Zara said slowly, you need to figure out why you're really here. Is it actually about Marcus, or is it about what he represents? What do you mean? You said everyone back home is bonded. Maybe you're not attracted to Marcus specifically. Maybe you're attracted to the idea of what we have. Connection, partnership, love. Kira was quiet for a long moment, considering this. Maybe you're right, but it doesn't change how I feel right now. No, Zara agreed. But it's a start. The rest of the day was awkward and tense. Kira retreated to the guest room, and Marcus tried to give Zara space to process everything. By evening, he found her in their bedroom, staring at a photo from their wedding day. Hey, he said softly, closing the door behind him. I keep thinking about what she said, Zara murmured. About being alone. I remember what that felt like before I met you. Marcus sat beside her, pulling her close. I know. But that doesn't excuse her behavior? No, it doesn't. Zara turned to face him, her hands framing his face. Marcus, I need you to know something. I need you to really know it. Know what? That you're everything to me. My partner, my love, my home. When I look at you, I don't just see a husband. I see the person who chose to build a life with me, across every difference, every obstacle. You learned my language, you studied my culture. You left your planet to be with me. I'd do it again in a heartbeat, Marcus said, his voice thick with emotion. Zara kissed him then, deep and passionate, pouring 2 years of love and commitment into it. Marcus responded in kind, his hands tangling in her dark hair, pulling her closer. They fell back onto the bed, wrapped in each other, reaffirming their bond in the most intimate way possible. Afterward, they lay tangled together, Zara's head resting on Marcus's chest as he traced patterns on her shoulder. I love you, she whispered. So much it sometimes scares me. I love you too. Nothing and no one will change that. But even as they held each other, Marcus couldn't shake the image of Kira's face, twisted with longing and loneliness. Somewhere in the apartment, Zara's sister was dealing with her own heartbreak, and he wondered what tomorrow would bring. Outside their closed door, in the dim hallway, Kira stood motionless. She'd come to apologize, to try to explain herself better. But hearing the sounds from within, the soft murmurs, the gentle laughter, the intimate silence that spoke of deep connection, she felt her heart crack further. She pressed her hand against the door, then pulled it back as if burned. Tears finally spilled down her purple cheeks as she returned to the guest room, the weight of her loneliness somehow heavier now than before. The next morning brought an uneasy truce. Kira emerged from her room with red-rimmed eyes, but a determined expression. I owe you both an apology, she said as they gathered in the kitchen. A real one. What I did was selfish and wrong. I let my own loneliness blind me to your feelings, to what's appropriate, to what's right. Zara studied her sister carefully. I appreciate that. But Kira, you need more than just an apology. You need to figure out what you really want. I know what I want. I want what you have. Someone who looks at me the way Marcus looks at you. Then you need to find that for yourself, Marcus said gently. Not try to take it from someone else. Kira nodded slowly. I know, I just ... I don't know how. For the first time since her arrival, vulnerability replaced the flirtation and intensity in her expression. She looked younger, uncertain, lost. Maybe, Zara said, an idea forming. That's something we can help you with. Not by sharing my husband, but by helping you find your own path. Kira looked up, hope flickering in her eyes. You'd do that? After everything? You're still my sister, Zara said. And despite everything, I don't want you to be alone forever. Marcus squeezed Zara's hand, proud of her capacity for compassion, even in difficult circumstances. But he also knew this was far from over. Healing would take time, and rebuilding trust would require work from all of them. The question was, were they all willing to put in that work? 3 days passed in careful politeness. Kira made an effort to maintain appropriate boundaries, though Marcus could still feel the weight of her gaze sometimes. Zara had gone back to work, trying to establish some normalcy, and Marcus had volunteered to help Kira explore job opportunities on the colony. It was a mistake. They were alone in the apartment. Reviewing colony employment databases on the living room console, when everything fell apart. There's an opening in the cultural exchange program, Marcus said, pointing to the screen. You'd be perfect for that. Teaching about your home planet, helping new arrivals adjust, Marcus. Kira's voice was soft, strange. He turned to find her staring at him with an intensity that made his breath catch. Before he could react, she closed the distance between them, her hands gripping his shoulders. Kira, don't. She kissed him. For one shocked second, Marcus froze. Then he gripped her wrists and firmly pushed her away. No, he said sharply. Absolutely not. Kira stumbled backward, her eyes wide and glassy. I'm sorry, I had to know. I had to know if maybe there could be something. There can't be. Marcus's voice was hard now, all gentleness gone. Kira, I don't know how to make this any clearer. I love Zara. Only Zara. Not you. Not anyone else. What you just did crosses every line possible. But I felt something. When we talk, when we're together, you felt friendship at best, and you twisted it into something else because you're lonely and desperate. The words were harsh, but Marcus was done being gentle. I am not available. I will never be available. You need to accept that. Kira's face crumpled. She sank onto the couch, her whole body shaking. What's wrong with me? She whispered. Why can't I find what Zara found? Why am I always on the outside looking in? Marcus's anger faded, replaced by something closer to pity. He sat down, maintaining careful distance between them. There's nothing wrong with you, but you can't force connection. You can't manufacture love, and you definitely can't steal someone else's happiness and expect it to fit you. I know that. Kira's voice broke on a sob. I know all of that, but knowing doesn't make the loneliness go away. It doesn't make me stop wanting what everyone else has. Do you know what it's like, Marcus? Watching everyone around you find their person, their purpose, their place, while you just exist? Yes, Marcus said quietly. I do. Before I met Zara, I spent 5 years on this colony feeling exactly that way. Disconnected, alone, watching other people build lives while I worked and went home to an empty apartment. Kira looked up at him, surprised. The difference, Marcus continued, is that I didn't try to insert myself into someone else's relationship. I worked on myself. I put myself out there. I took risks. And eventually, I met Zara at a terraforming conference, and everything changed. But what if that never happens for me? Then you build a life worth living anyway. You find purpose, friends, passion. You become whole on your own, so that when someone does come along, you're ready for them. The apartment door slid open. Zara entered, her smile fading as she took in the scene, Marcus and Kira sitting far apart. Kira's tear-stained face, the tension in the air. What happened? Her voice was dangerously calm. Marcus opened his mouth, then closed it. Kira stood up, wiping her eyes. I kissed him, Kira said, her voice small. He pushed me away immediately, told me no, but I did it. I crossed the line you asked me not to cross. Zara went very still. Marcus could see her processing, see the hurt and anger warring in her expression. Zara, he started, but she held up a hand. Kira, go to your room. But now, Kira fled. When the guest room door closed, Zara finally moved. She walked to Marcus, studying his face. Are you okay? She asked. I should be asking you that. I asked first. Zara sat beside him, taking his hand. Did she hurt you? No. I'm sorry. I should have seen it coming. Should have been more careful. Marcus, stop. Zara squeezed his hand. You did nothing wrong. You've been clear from the beginning. This is on Kira. She's really struggling, Zara. I mean really struggling. It's not just about me. I know. Zara sighed heavily. I could see it from the moment she arrived. I just hoped. I don't know what I hoped. They sat in silence for a moment before Zara stood. I need to talk to my sister. Marcus watched her walk to the guest room door, knock once, and enter without waiting for a response. Inside, Kira sat on the bed, her face buried in her hands. When Zara entered, she looked up, fresh tears streaming down her purple cheeks. I'm so sorry, Kira whispered. Zara, I'm so sorry. You were right about everything. I was selfish and desperate, and I hurt you and I... Stop, Zara sat beside her. Just stop talking for a moment. Kira fell silent, her shoulders shaking with suppressed sobs. I'm angry with you, Zara said quietly. I'm hurt that you would do this. But I'm also worried about you, Kira, because this isn't really about Marcus, is it? Kira shook her head miserably. Talk to me, really talk to me. Not about my husband, but about you. About what's really going on. And then, finally, the dam broke. Kira talked about returning home after her travels to find all her friends bonded, building families. She talked about the pressure from their parents, the constant questions about when she'd settle down. She talked about feeling defective, broken, like something essential was missing from her makeup. Everyone makes it look so easy, Kira sobbed. You made it look easy. You met Marcus and just knew, right? You just knew he was the one. No, Zara said firmly. It wasn't easy. I was terrified. Marcus was from another planet, another species. I had to learn to trust, to open up, to be vulnerable. It took work, Kira, real work. And before Marcus, I had relationships that failed. I had heartbreak. I had nights where I wondered if I'd ever find someone. Kira looked at her sister in surprise. You never told me that. Because by the time you were old enough to have those conversations, I was already with Marcus. But I wasn't always happy, Kira. I wasn't always secure. I had to grow into the person who could build this kind of relationship. How? Kira's voice was pleading. How did you do it? By figuring out who I was first. By building a life I was proud of. By becoming someone I liked, so that when the right person came along, I had something real to offer them. Kira was quiet for a long moment. I don't know who I am, she finally admitted. I've spent so much time looking for someone to complete me that I never figured out how to be complete on my own. Then that's where you start. Zara pulled her sister into a hug. Not by chasing my husband. Not by trying to force something that isn't there. But by figuring out who Kira is and what Kira wants from life. They held each other as Kira cried, years of loneliness and frustration pouring out. And slowly, gradually, Zara felt her anger soften into something more complicated frustration, mixed with compassion, hurt mixed with understanding. When they finally emerged from the guest room, Marcus had made tea. The three of them sat together, the air clearer than it had been in days. "I need to leave," Kira said. "Not run away, but actually leave. Go somewhere new. Figure things out properly." "Where will you go?" Marcus asked. "I don't know yet, but somewhere I can start fresh. Somewhere I can build something that's mine." Kira looked at both of them. "I'm truly sorry for what I did. To both of you. You deserved better from me." "Yes, we did," Zara agreed. "But we also want you to be happy, Kira. Actually happy, not just desperately grasping at other people's happiness." Kira managed a small smile. "I want that too. I just need to figure out how." 2 weeks later, the apartment felt different. The tension had dissipated, replaced by something more hopeful. Kira had spent the time genuinely exploring the colony, attending social events, and most importantly, talking to a counselor who specialized in helping newcomers adjust to life in space. Marcus came home one evening to find Kira and Zara laughing together in the kitchen, actually laughing the way sisters should. "What's so funny?" he asked, setting down his work bag. "Kira was just telling me about her disastrous attempt at zero gravity." "Yoga," Zara said, wiping tears of mirth from her eyes. "I flipped completely upside down and couldn't figure out how to right myself," Kira added, grinning. "The instructor had to rescue me while the whole class watched." Marcus smiled, relieved to see genuine joy in Kira's expression rather than the desperate longing that had characterized her early days here. "Actually," Kira said, her tone becoming more serious, "I wanted to tell you both something. I've been offered a position." "Really? Where?" Zara asked. "The frontier station. It's a new colony being established near the Andromeda border. They need cultural liaisons, people who understand multiple species and can help build bridges. It's perfect for me, challenging, meaningful, and far enough away that I can really start fresh." Marcus noticed the way Kira said it, not running away, but moving toward something. "That's incredible, Kira," he said sincerely. "When do you leave?" "In 3 days. Which is why," she looked between them nervously, "I was hoping we could have a proper goodbye, a family dinner. I want to leave things right between us." "I'd like that," Zara said softly. That evening, they cooked together, all three of them. Marcus taught Kira how to make his grandmother's pasta recipe, while Zara prepared her home planet's traditional celebration bread. The kitchen was full of laughter, good-natured teasing, and the comfortable rhythm of people who'd found their way back to each other. Over dinner, Kira surprised them both. "I want to thank you," she said, raising her glass. "I know that sounds strange after everything, but you both taught me something important these past weeks." "What's that?" Marcus asked. "That love isn't about desperation or filling a void. It's about two whole people choosing to build something together. I wasn't whole when I arrived here. I was broken and trying to use what you have to fix myself. And now?" Zara asked gently. "Now I'm working on becoming whole, on my own terms." The counselor helped me see that I'd been so focused on finding someone that I never invested in finding myself. Kira smiled, and it reached her eyes for the first time since she'd arrived. The frontier station position isn't just a job. It's a chance to discover who I am when I'm not comparing myself to everyone else. "I'm proud of you," Zara said, her voice thick with emotion. "This takes real courage." After dinner, Marcus excused himself to give the sisters time alone. He could hear their voices from the living room, sometimes serious, sometimes laughing, as they talked late into the night. The next morning, Marcus found Kira packing her belongings. She looked up as he entered. "Hey," she said. "Come to make sure I'm actually leaving?" "Come to see if you need any help," Marcus corrected gently. Kira smiled. "I owe you a real apology. Not just the one I gave before, but a deeper one. I objectified you, Marcus. I turned you into a symbol of everything I thought I wanted, without seeing you as a real person with your own feelings and boundaries. I appreciate that, and I'm sorry for putting you in that position. You handled it better than I deserved. She closed her bag and turned to face him fully. For what it's worth, I understand now why Zara loves you. Not because you're human or exotic or any of the superficial things I was fixated on, but because you're kind, patient, and completely devoted to her. That's rare, regardless of species. Thank you. And Kira? You're going to find that too. Not because you're desperately searching for it, but because you're becoming someone worth finding. Kira's eyes welled up, but she blinked the tears away. I hope you're right. On departure day, the three of them stood at the colony's transport station. Kira had said her goodbyes, hugged her sister multiple times, and was finally ready to board. But before she did, she turned back one last time. Zara, Marcus, there's one more thing. She took a deep breath. I met someone. What? Zara's eyes widened. At one of the social events, the counselor suggested. His name is Tarek. He's Aurelian, works in xenobotany. We've just talked a few times, nothing serious, but... Kira's smile was genuine, warm. There was something there. Something real, not desperate. And I'm not running toward him or letting him define me. But when I'm settled at the frontier station, he's planning to visit. Kira, that's wonderful. Zara pulled her sister into another hug. It might not work out, Kira cautioned. But this time, I'm approaching it differently. I'm not trying to fill a void. I'm just open to possibility. That's all anyone can ask for, Marcus said. The boarding announcement echoed through the station. Kira picked up her bags, paused, and then laughed. What? Zara asked. I just realized I'm not scared anymore. I'm excited. Is this what hope feels like? Yes, Zara said, her voice thick with emotion. That's exactly what it feels like. They watched as Kira boarded the transport, waiting until she disappeared from view. As the ship lifted off, beginning its journey to the frontier station, Marcus wrapped his arm around Zara's waist. Think she'd be okay? He asked. I think she'd be better than okay. She's finally on her own path, not trying to walk someone else's. They returned to their apartment, which felt simultaneously emptier and more peaceful. That evening, they sat together on their couch, Zara curled into Marcus's side. I was thinking, Zara said softly, maybe we should visit the frontier station in a few months. See how she's doing. I'd like that. As long as it's just a visit. Zara laughed, the sound light and free. Definitely just a visit. I like having you all to myself. Marcus tilted her face up, kissing her slowly, deeply. I like being all yours. Outside their window, the colony lights twinkled like stars, each one representing a life, a story, a journey. Somewhere out there, Kira was beginning hers. And here, in this small apartment, Marcus and Zara continued. They're stronger for having weathered the storm, more certain of their bond, more grateful for what they'd built together. 3 months later, Zara's communication device chimed with an incoming message. She opened it to find a photo of Kira standing beside a tall, green-skinned man with kind eyes and a warm smile. They were in some kind of garden, surrounded by plants Marcus didn't recognize, and they were both laughing. The message read, This is Tarek. We're taking things slow, but I wanted you to meet him virtually, at least. I'm happy, sis. Really happy. Not because I found someone, but because I found myself first. Thank you for not giving up on me. Love you both. K. Zara showed Marcus the photo, and he smiled. She looks different, he observed. She looks whole, Zara corrected. That night, as they lay in bed, Marcus pulled Zara closer. Have I told you lately that I love you? He murmured into her hair. Not in the last hour, Zara teased. Well, I do. More than anything, you're my home, Zara, my partner, my everything. And you're mine, she whispered back. Always. Outside, the colony slept. Somewhere across the stars, Kira was building a new life. And in this small apartment, in this moment, everything was exactly as it should be. Two people who'd chosen each other, every day, through every challenge, bound not by desperation, but by deep, abiding love. The kind of love worth waiting for. The kind of love worth fighting for. The kind of love that transforms not just individuals, but everyone lucky enough to witness it. The end.